So now we are going to start working on project module. So we'll first create project entity, which will be the columns of project table. So let's keep all those important properties which we usually keep it in, say it in any project details. So initially we created all the modules, most of the modules we created. So we also created project as well. So here we have project module .ts. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create one new file here, and I will or instead of creating file directly, we'll create one folder, entity, and then inside the entity we are going to create one file here, and that would be project.entity.ts. All right, now we should create one class, and uh, I will also extend it with base entity, which has id and created and updated at. So if you have not seen my previous videos, let me show you what this base entity has. So id, created at, and updated at. I extracted these properties so that I'll not have to write it again and again. All right, now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna mark this table as entity, and here I'll pass some options. One of them is name, and in name I can write projects. So this name is the table name actually. If you leave, if you remove this object, so what type ARM will do does, so here what is going to do is it will create a mm, table with the name project. So as we are following conventions for this application, we are keeping table names in plural, and the words are separated by underscore. So we'll continue following this. Okay, and now what I'm gonna do, uh, I'm just gonna write the properties. So we already have id from here, base entity. Next could be string, name, and then the project description, string, and then status, let's say uh, active, inactive, or something like that, or not started, in progress, completed. So for now I'm just keeping it a string. Definitely we can uh, have predefined keywords here like enum, but we can definitely do that later. And for this, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use default not started. Okay, and what else, here I can just add some comments. Status of the project, example, not started, in progress, and completed. We're going to convert this in enum, but before I do that, let's finish all the properties. Progress number, and this would be something like how much percentage the project is completed, let's say 50%, 30%. So usually when you create new project, it remains at 0, so let's put the default as 0. All right, now I'm just going to annotate the rest of the property as well. We'll be writing other things here, column, and we can use text as a database type. And what else? Now what you can do, name, description, status, progress. Now this project will be associated with the users. Now one project can have many users, and one user can have many projects, so the association is many to many. So how we decide like it is many to many? So if you think this way, like one project can have many users, so yeah, it looks like it is correct. So in that way it will be one to many. If you think in inverse, like one user does, I mean, can one user have many projects? If yes, then inversely it will be many to one. Then you can just remove one and one and it will be many to many. I mean, I'm just trying to explain this for those who are very beginner, and sometimes they find it hard to understand, like how we can decide whether it is many to many or not, or one to many. So if you from both side, if it is if it starts from many, then it will be many to many. All right, so for users, we can have some property like assigned users, and I can import user entity, and this is not a column for this table. Instead, it's a association, so we'll be using many to many. And in many to many, if I hover over, we need to define a target function, type function for target, and how it is associated, I mean this projects in other side, I mean in user. So let's create a function first, and we'll have to tell what is the type of this property. So this is user, and then we'll have to tell how this entity, what is the field for this entity in user. So we can use any variable name here like user, and we can tell that we have user dot projects or something that like. So okay, so what I can do, I can go in user, and since we don't have projects here, so let's do this way, projects, or we can use assign projects and not projects. This would be a project. All right, now this is project, and here we can say assign projects. Okay, now since this is many to many, it will create a separate table to keep the IDs of project and user. So we can customize the column names for that table as well. Like if you use join table, we can tell like we want to have this column name and this table name. So I want to customize the table name as well. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write name as project users. So in this case, what I will do is like I will use second word as plural. Okay, although this is many to many, but or we can also write this way, but let's do this way. And here I'm going to use join column. If you have many um, um, unique keys, then you can definitely use join columns, and there we will pass multiple join column in, I mean in array. Okay, and now what we can do, we can use name, we can think of an ID, a column name for this entity. So this is a project ID, so we are keeping it project ID, and how it is referencing this entity. So this would be just ID is coming from base entity, so we'll have one ID as well. And how this is associated inversely, So for inverse join column, we'll also define one column name. Here this would be user ID, and reference column name, and this would be ID as well. So at the time of like if we when we will be writing queries, we'll use custom queries as well. So type ORM will automatically join those both the tables. We can have few more fields here, like let's say created by. So when you create some project, then definitely we'll have created by, and this will also have be like one project can be created by one user. But if you think in other way, one user can create many projects, so it will be many to one. I'm just going to remove this create query builder, and here what I'm going to type is the first is the type, just use this way user, and then we need to tell it like what is the property for this project. So we are going to say user dot assign okay, or okay, since this is a many to one, we'll have user ID here. So although this will not be an array since it is many to one, and always remember like unique reference key, I mean foreign key will stay at the side of many. So the project is actually many, and here we'll have let's say if we define we want to set we want to create one field actually this will not appear in the table, right? So since this is not a column, but if you want to create a column with created by, then we can also do that. And how this is associated in users, like what property it will refer. So for that, like we can create one more field, created projects. So this will show those projects if the user has created something, otherwise this will not show. It will be empty. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go in user and add one more property, created projects, and then here we'll be having projects. All right, I'll come back here and write annotations as well, just allow me some time. And then what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna, as I said, like we can create one property, one column name in this projects table, and that will be a foreign key for the user table for the, I mean whoever created this project. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna write join column. So we can just use join column, and we can define name of join column as created by. So when we do not write @rate column, type warden will not create a column name with this property, with this name. It is just for the reference to understand like how it is associated. But here when we are using join column, it will explicitly add one column property in projects, and in case if we remove this, then this will not add it. Okay, we'll be doing it multiple times, like when we will be creating new entities like tasks, comments, whatever, like then we'll seeing like a many to many relations frequently, and then you will be able to master it. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just go back in okay, before I update I mean the user, I also wanted to add one more property. one more association. This will be updated by. Okay, and here we can update the column name as updated by and updated projects. Then this looks fine. I can go there in the user and add one more property. This is also optional, like if you want to keep track of updated projects, then you can do that. Otherwise this is not mandatory. If you think like adding this will make this, I mean, response bigger, then we have multiple things, like either we can just select properties from this project and we can keep it short. I mean, instead of selecting all the properties, we can have some limited number of properties, or we can just remove this one. Okay, so now since we have finished doing things in the project, what we can do here, so we can just go back in the user and do similar things like on user side. So this is our front facing entity, so that's why I have written join table here. I'm expecting like I will try to query from the projects and then I want to get users. Otherwise you can do it inversely as well. Okay, so let's go here and do similar thing in projects. So it will be a many to many and its type will be project. So you can just look at here and see, okay, this is project, and copy and paste it here. All right, and now if you want to know like what will be the second parameter, here we define here we write a function, a callback function. We use this variable, actually it will be a project. We also need to tell like how this entity is actually this entity, this user entity is defined in on inverse side, so on project side. So on project side it is defined as assigned users. Okay, I think that's all we need to do here, and we don't need to write, what we can say, we don't need to write about join table, since we have already done it one side. And the task of this, I mean, the reason behind writing this is like the type warden, when type warden will see this statement, it will create a table. Now it's okay to have it one place, it is not necessary that we are writing it at both places. All right, next what we can do, we can go back in user. Okay, wait, user entity, and for created projects it is one to many. Okay, it is one to many, and now we are going to define type for this, and this will be project. And then the next thing is how this entity is associated on this, I mean how this is linked on inverse side. So we can say project dot created by, and then we are going to use one to many one more, and this time I'm going to define its type as project as well. And then I'm gonna write project and how it is associated in project. So we'll write it project dot updated by, not updated at. I think that's all we need to do for entity.